What is up? Welcome back to Cryptographics. Welcome back to the channel. It's been a hot minute. I'm excited to get in with you guys today. We have a lot to talk about. Taurus and Unity have been absolutely crushing it. And I'll show you what I mean by that because, you could say, oh, look at the charts down, blah, 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 blah. But if you look at how the system itself is performing and how things versus how things were intended to go, we got a lot to talk about. And before I get in there, let me just welcome everyone into the stream. I see Todd is in here. Welcome, welcome. Good to see you. What is up? Need some good news graphics. We'll get there. Don't worry, my man. Godfather J6, great to have you. And Martin Max King. Hello. Thank you for being here, man. You're always here. And same with you, Kesh. Thanks, guys. Appreciate you both. So let's get right into it. I want the stream to be relatively short. I don't want to be a 2-hour stream today. Kind of keep it about 45 minutes to an hour. But I would like to interact mostly with you guys today. I'm going to talk a little bit about what I'm seeing. I'm going to talk a little bit about what Taurus and Unity are doing, what they're accomplishing. But I primarily want to interact with you, the community, for Taurus and Unity. So post your questions here in the chat as the stream goes on, and I will get to them as soon as I can. And if I don't get to them right away, I'll star them when I see them, and I will answer them accordingly. So let's get right into it. I'm going to share my screen, and let's start with Unity today, because there's a lot going on with Unity, and I'm seeing a lot of questions about staking fees and just what's been happening with Unity. So right now, actually, I'm going to bring up the price chart for Unity. And let me just share this tab instead. Great. Okay. Boom. So this is Unity at the moment here. We are starting back on the 18th of August. We are down here at about 4.1 cents, but we're up a little bit. Now, the thing I want to point out here, I want to start with the price chart because it's easy to get hung up on price and like, well, Unity is half the price of Taurus. So isn't that kind of not good? Well, let's go back in time a little bit and refresh ourselves on what's happened since launch. So remember, August 18th was the time that Unity launched. So if we go to the Pulse X chart, remember, because Unity is priced in Pulse X. So we get and derive our price from our ratio in our liquidity pool to Pulse X. So August 18th is around here. Look at where we are in price. We're ranging between 4035 and 4042 on that day. So Pulse X has dropped. Let's just go right from the middle here, just as like an average. Pulse X has dropped 66% since Unity launched, which means that our price of Unity has not been helped because Pulse X has been dropping like crazy. So as Pulse X corrects, Unity will also correct. Now let's look at the ratio. So I want to show you guys who aren't aware, when you are viewing what's happening with Unity, you don't want to look at the USD price if you want to understand how the system is performing. If you just want to understand how your bags are doing and the value of each token, sure, USD price is extremely relevant, right? But if you want to understand the performance of Unity relative to Pulse X, you cannot look at the USD price because Unity's price is dragged around by Pulse Chain and Pulse X generally, right? So this is the chart. Now it looks similar, but there is a difference. If we were to go to the USD value here, pay attention to the bottom. The bottom looks relatively small here, right? Like we're only up from 3.5 cents to 4.2. I think we went a little bit lower into the high twos, but this is very small correction here. But if we go to the PLSX ratio, we can see that we actually have many more green candles against PLSX than the USD chart. And this is what's so important to understand. Unity is performing very well. And since we made it to here, which is around it was 17th of November, I can't remember exactly what day that was, but essentially this was the day that the buy-in builds were turned up, meaning the liquidity pool for Unity has been growing every single day since this. And that has made Unity receive additional buy pressure from the smart contract of the buy and build, buying or using Pulse to buy Pulse X to buy Unity and then place it in liquidity, or buying Unity with the Pulse X in the contract and then also placing that in liquidity as well. And so far, we're up about $25,000 in liquidity in only a matter of days. And The other thing that I want to point out here, which is like I posted on X, this is one, and I think this is the title for the video as well, is that the burn rate for Unity, because we are at such low prices, is astronomical. Now, for reference, remember, the median ratio starting for Unity to PulseX was 100,000 PulseX to 1 Unity. We are currently about 70 or 63% lower than that ratio. Now, actually, we're more than that. Sorry, we're much more than that. So, but for reference, Taurus, if we were to compare where Taurus is currently sitting, the equivalent Taurus ratio would be right here. So we're nearly twice as, or over 2 times lower than Taurus has, or Taurus's ratio to Titan X as Unity's ratio to Pulse X is. What does that mean? Well, for one, it means that the staking fees seem very, very high in USD value. But the most important thing, I'm going to bring up the Unity DApp here because it's actually crazy to watch in real time. Let's go to this one. The burn rate for Unity is astronomical. In the last handful of days, we've gone up. Well, we've gone from low 9% of the total supply while the supply is expanding to 11.1%. That's a cool number. So we've gone from like 80,000, I think it's 80,000 or 90,000, maybe a little bit more, Unity burned about 7-8 days ago to now 657,000 Unity. This is going to be 1 million in the next handful of days at the rate that we're going right now. And this is the gift of where we're at right now, which means that Unity is able to burn tokens twice as fast as Taurus at the moment because of where it sits in ratio to PulseX, and because PulseX is so cheap and the buy and burns have to operate at a minimum of 1% of the entire contract balance per day. I mean, it's just going to be nuts. So if we were to compare, and I can't remember exactly what day it was that Taurus cracked 1 million, but I bet you I could find, I'm not going to look for it right now because I don't want to distract or get off topic here. But for reference, we are on day 139 on Taurus, and I'm going to share the Taurus tab here for a second, just so we can understand the reference point. So as a benchmark, at day 139, Taurus has a total of 21.2% of its total supply that's ever been minted has been burned at 1.79, basically 1.8 million tokens, 139 days. And that's closing in on almost 2% of the end 20-year supply that will be able to come out. That's crazy in only 139 days. And it's currently sitting at 21.2% of the global supply that's come out to date. So remember, day 139 is when Taurus has hit these numbers. Now, if we go back to Unity, Unity is only on day 100, and we're 10 days away from the fractal. When the fractal comes out, this is a time vault that is going to release more funds, these ones specifically, $30,000 in Pulse and $91,000 in Pulse X, into the buy and burn to increase these values, which will also increase every interval that is used to buy and burn Unity. Now, if these amounts double, so you add 30,000 here and $90,000 here, well, you're going to get twice the amount of burn rate per day. And we could see quite quickly the amount of Unity burned catch up with what Taurus has been doing faster than when Taurus did it, which is kind of crazy. So while it sucks in the meantime for the USD value and seeing the prices low, it is a godsend if you are looking a little bit longer term at what this is actually bringing to the protocol. And for those that are looking to stake in the protocol, if we look at the earn page, we go to stake, we can see that the ROI in tokens is still astronomical. It's like 5.5x the amount of tokens that you're going to get by staking Unity. Yes, the dollar value is $63 staking fee for $38 worth of Unity. But if you look at the actual long-term number of tokens you're getting, these units are not going to be able to be received or actually achieved or earned forever. Like these are going to go down fairly quickly in the future as more supply comes out, which means more supply can be staked, which means there's more dilution in the pools. And as the rewards simultaneously come down, it gets more and more difficult to earn. So there's huge opportunity in Unity right now. And with everything going on, I mean, all of these mechanics are going to come to a head sooner rather than later. And we haven't even completed the second cycle yet. We just completed our first. The fractal hasn't even released in Unity yet. And PulseX, the whole Pulse chain is down abysmally low. And again, just as a quick reminder here, what has happened with PulseX. I mean, we started way up here. Where am I here? We started way up here and we've come down 66%. That has not helped us at all. Plus, having a sacrifice come out has enticed people, I'm sure, to take anything they made in Unity and possibly move it over. Name of the game. It's Richard Hart's chain. It's probably going to happen. Probably has happened. Probably still will happen. So that's the Unity update so far. Things are looking fantastic. Yes, things are low, but our liquidity is building. We are gaining momentum. And the fractal is about to release, which is about to increase the buy pressure. In terms of the building rate, let's go take a quick look at what we have going on here for Unity. $43,000 is still going to go into the liquidity pool. $9,000 in Pulse is going to buy PulseX, which is going to then be placed in liquidity pool. So really, we have, I believe this is going to be closer to 4 billion PulseX that is going to end up in the liquidity pool by the time that this whole buy and build process is completed, which is going to double the amount of basically PulseX we have in there now and then some, which is going to be awesome. So there's a lot to look forward to. There really is. And the fantastic thing about Unity being down at these prices is that creating a floor down here allows liquidity to grow. And Unity could actually see a much deeper liquidity pool than Taurus just because the prices have gone so much lower against PulseX than Taurus ever did against TitanX. And this can allow the liquidity to possibly be, 50, 60, 100% more at equivalent price points to PulseX in the future. And as PulseX is scaling or ripping or doing whatever it's going to do in the future, then, I mean, Unity could have astronomical liquidity even faster than Taurus, which is actually kind of wild. And I really wasn't expecting that. But this is the one thing about these systems is that every time the context changes, meaning like maybe let's say the market goes and sells more than we might anticipate. Well, that opens up opportunity for liquidity to get even deeper or to become even deeper than, we could have planned for. It also makes the burn rate go up higher. So there's lots to look forward to with Unity. And again, we're only 100 days into Unity. And we're about to tick over to day 101 here in about 13 minutes, which is so cool to see both these protocols out for 139 or 140 and 101 days. It's just blows my mind that these are live and rocking and rolling. So before I go over to Taurus, I'm going to check in with you guys and see what questions you had. And let's see here. All right. Kingsway, bye-bye. Let's see here. All right. Exactly. Bargain prices right now. Why staking gives more tokens than just buying and holding. Can you elaborate in a short way why staking gives more tokens than just buying and holding? I mean, my shares are being diluted, but I want people to make the most of it. So yeah, actually, let's do this right now. Let's go to the staking tab. So you have $100, right? If you show up with $100, you're going to be able to buy, if I do the math right here, basically 2,200 Taurus. I'm just estimating. Let's actually just type this in. So let's go 220. And let's do 24. So if you show up with if you buy $100 worth of Unity, you're going to get 2.4 thousand Unity. If you stake 963, I think it was 963, 936, 936. If you stake 936 Unity, you're going to get an additional 5,310 Unity. So for $100 cost, you can have 936 plus 5,310, or you can buy on the market, which is only going to get you about 2,400. So you're going to basically you choose 2,400 or 6,300. It's the thing is yes, it costs a lot. But if you're thinking like, okay, I'm going to show up with $100, and what do I get? Right? This is the way you look at this system. Yes, the staking fees are expensive right now because we're so low, right? Double-edged sword. Like I said, it burns like crazy, liquidity builds, but yeah, the fees are high. this is really helpful to the system because it adds a lot of economic energy that helps to sustain itself, because the value that's coming out of the system measured against what's coming in is increased in favor of the deposit tokens that are helping to keep the system alive, right? So the thing that I want you to understand, though, for anyone listening, Kesh or whoever this is that's interested in staking, is that if you show up with $100, look at it like that, right? You show up with $100, a little bit more, 102 or something like that, I think it is at this point. Show up with $100, you get $220 worth of additional tokens to make you go up to 6,300 tokens. Or you can buy on the market with $100 and you can get 2,600 tokens. Choice is yours, right? And then once you have that 6,300 tokens, now you have the ability in the future to continue to earn even more, because your shares, look at this. Okay, I'm going to go back here. So look at 936 tokens. This is your shares, right? You get 725 million shares for your 936 tokens. But let's say you actually completed your stake and you were to earn this amount, right? It is estimated. But let's say you were able to earn that amount and you got 6,300 tokens. Now you've gone from 7 million shares to 48.8 million shares, which means you're going to be able to earn more and more and more in the future. And yes, the deposits go up as time goes on, as well as, the deposits currently are high. However, we're talking about right now, right? We can't think too far ahead in terms of where price will be in 88 days, because we genuinely don't know. And the system is based, or the actions in the system are based on right now, right? Because every day difficulty goes up. Every day it costs more to stake the same amount of tokens. And you don't know where price is going to go each day, which could make, or you could basically have each type of decision you could possibly make invalidated by where the price goes the next day. So I hope that makes sense. But really, it's like if you show up with $100, you're going to be able to see exactly what I'm referring to here. So PLSX is going to go crazy soon. I really hope so. And I believe so too. I think we're getting into the part of the market where, people are tired, and that's showing a bottom. I mean, we said this before, though. I don't, honestly, at this point, I'm just here no matter what. I'm here no matter what. Let's go. We're finding a floor. Exactly. Compounding that compound. That is the point of this system. That is absolutely the point of this system. What's up, Damien? Good to see you. By the way, I'm educating myself. Now I know what single-sided LP is, and I'm slowly getting to learn how I sell that way without slippage. DeFi for the win. It is awesome, isn't it? When you can figure out these tools and learn all these different techniques where you don't have to, you can use custom strategies to exit and enter into tokens without slippage and do all these crazy things. It's so awesome. DeFi is one of the coolest places to be, and we're just getting started here. It's going to be so much fun, guys and gals. Hey, good to see you, Damien. Glad to have you here. I'm back so sick. You're hilarious. Oh my God. Let's see here. Let me go to, staking fees price me out. A smart move. Guess I'll hold liquid and stake smaller quantities of Taurus and Unity. This is the thing, right? Not everyone is going to want to stake at these levels. That's totally fine. This is part of the game, right? It's going to change over time. It's just going to. But we'll see where it gets to. So, things are in a certain fashion now, but they may not be that way forever. Who knows what's coming, right? So, today I learned what single-sided LP actually is from one of Eric's streams. We'll learn more to sell that way only without slippage. Exactly. So, yeah, we have calculations. The 1% it lasts for, I think it's almost like 6 months or so. It's quite a while. And if it's 10%, it's like 97% of the buy and burns are used in 30 days. So yeah, it's quite easy to calculate. Nope, not yet. Not yet. But maybe soon. We'll see. Maybe soon. Exactly. Almost. So here's the thing. We're climbing up. We're almost halfway to 1%. We're already at 0.5% of the total supply that has been burned, of the end supply of 120 million of Unity. It's insane. And at the rate it's going right now, if we stay at these prices, that's going to keep climbing and climbing and climbing. I mean, we haven't even gotten to Taurus yet. And we've seen the burn rate just spike. you know. So question, and this is good. This is a good question. Will staking ROI go up or down? It depends on what the prices of all these different pieces do in the future. If Unity increases in price against PulseX enough, so here's the thing. I'll paint the picture of what the parts are, so that way you can understand what will cause the ROI to increase or decrease. So on the side of increasing the ROI, higher Unity price against PulseX is going to increase the staking ROI because the deposit fee that we're going to be paying is less relative to what you're earning in the stake, right? So that is number one. Number two is users exiting the pool and not going back in. That is going to increase the yield for everybody. But what makes it decrease is the opposite, essentially, is people entering the pool, Unity going down in ratio against PulseX, meaning PulseX is becoming more expensive relative to Unity, and the deposit fee is going to go up, as well as, did I say dilution already? I said dilution, PLSX going down, as well as the difficulty, right? Because every single day there's 0.08% less of these tokens that are available in Unity, in the Unity pool to be earned daily, right? So you have 3 difficulty measures that are in favor of the ROI going down, but you also have 2 measures that are helping the ROI go up in the future, right? So it's a very interesting dance, and it's to say, will staking ROI go up or down? Across time, on average, it'll go down, but in shorter periods, it will kind of fluctuate. Like right now, it's saying 153%, but if Unity increases against PulseX, this could go back up to hundreds of X's. Because if you look at the number of tokens that you're actually getting, you're getting like 5.5 times more tokens, almost, 5.5 times more tokens than you're staking, which should be around 400% minus the fee. But yeah, we're at about 150%. It's showing here on the DApp. So this is going to change over time. But those are the factors. And that's the most important thing you need to understand about how this ROI is influenced across time. That's the most important thing. So Penny, good to see you. These systems are perfect for this type of market environment. Yes, exactly. To get set up pre-bull run is a godsend. And, having the opportunity to get into a supply that is only going to get more and more and more difficult to get into very, very quickly, with the supply being burned at the rate that it is. I mean, man, it's going to be really exciting to see how this all evolves. I would love to know more about what you mean. You're saying these systems are perfect for this type of market environment. What do you mean by that? And why do you think that? I'd be very curious to hear. I love hearing your thoughts. Let's see. I am not giving away any secrets. Building protocols on top of Unity and Taurus should be an interesting way to eat up supply over time. Absolutely. Built on Unity and Taurus protocols. Now that's something interesting for the future of the ecosystem. Absolutely. I mean, they're primed for it. So the right answer, do both creation and staking, depending on when it makes sense. I mean, if you were to create right now in Unity, right? I mean, that's not a good deal. Personally, I wouldn't do that. It's just my thoughts. I mean, that seems like a bad deal. Put in $1,200 worth of PulseX and get out $260 worth. No, I'd just go and stake. That's me personally. And that's not advice. That's just looking at what the ROIs are showing and showing what the numbers on the deposits, the stake, and the estimated earned are all showing. But you're right. It's just flip back and forth between when creating is more profitable and when staking is more profitable. That's typically that's what the DApp is trying to guide towards. So it's supposed to be simple. It's not supposed to be this crazy, advantageous, or strategic thing where you're trying to really read between the lines and all that stuff. So 2026 alts will fly with some luck, man. I hope so. I really hope so. I do think so as well, though. It's all roads are pointing to 2026, and I think Penny can. If Penny was on stream with me here, Penny would be able to really make the case for it because he's done some serious research. He understands things quite well, and he can say way better than I ever could exactly why 2026 is being pointed to as that year. So, Martin, another one. Where initially created Unity comes from. So the created Unity is a separate created or a minted aspect of the supply, right? If you look in the white paper, there's two tier supply, meaning the Unity pool, which issues a number of tokens on a declining basis daily across time, is the standard where people are going to earn from in the system. That's where the staking rewards come from. That is where the creation rewards come from. But when you create, and I'll go to that side of the equation, you can see here that you're creating. It says you create tokens up front and then you're earning. Basically, you can think about creating as like a fixed rate market buy kind of thing, right? So you put in 100 million Pulse X, you're going to essentially mint from the contract 923.75 Unity. And then that's going to give you some shares in the system because you're creating Unity. This is giving you shares. And then you're going to earn on top of that. So it's like you're minting here up front to give you shares. And then this is what the contract will mint you after you earn over the 88-day period that you're going to lock up for. So it's like a two-tier minting process, essentially. But these are extremely minimal. And because we are so low in price right now, there's no way people aren't going to be creating. It's just not going to happen. It's why would you create at a loss, right? It doesn't really make sense. So let me just share this as well, just so people can understand, is that the creation mechanism or action becomes profitable up here. We're down here, right? It needs to go way back up here for more created tokens to actually begin to enter supply again, which means that, we're going to burn a lot of tokens and this can slowly slink its way up. Taurus is a perfect example, right? Taurus, while the market has been doing its thing, Taurus has been quietly just going sideways, and against Titan X, it's been going up and sideways up. It's got a nice little formation it's making here. And the thing that's really blowing me away is how liquidity is building as the market cap is dropping. And it's because the token supply is burning at such a rate and the liquidity is still growing that, we're getting into territory that's like nearly rivaling something like Volt, which has a crazy market cap to liquidity ratio. And this is the setup that we want. We want to see a huge number in liquidity to a small number in market cap at these levels, because as this scales, this allows the depth of the market to basically be extremely mature extremely quickly, right? So for every 4x that Taurus will do, the liquidity numbers will double. So if we go to 30 cents, effectively, we're going to have $370,000 in liquidity at $1 million market cap. It's pretty great, honestly. It's pretty great. And this can get thicker because if we look at Taurus's buy and build, there's still some dollars that need to go and still some Titan X that need to go into the pool. So we could see liquidity be almost 2 to 1. Basically see like a $200,000 liquidity to $450,000 in market cap at these prices if we stay down here for long enough, right? So I can't remember why I got on that tangent, but there was a reason I was saying that, but I can't remember why. So we'll just keep going. Let's see here. I hope you're right, Kesh. I would love that. Connor Gray music, my man. I'm wondering if Martin's question about where does Unity come from is more fundamental, like literally how is Unity created out of thin air, right? So if we're looking at it from where does it come from? Well, the contract is able to mint, basically create or issue Unity tokens on an unfixed schedule, which is based on users saying, I want to create, I'm going to deposit Pulse or Pulse X into the contract via this action. And the smart contract literally issues tokens, or you are earning, you're credited basically every single day that you're in the Unity pool and you're earning with your shares, you're earning from the Unity pool tokens. And then simultaneously, when you complete your stake or your creation in a sense, and you claim it, the contract mints you and literally creates, it mints you the created tokens. and the tokens from the Unity pool simultaneously. And you can see this, like if you look on Etherscan, you can see these twin mints. It's like you'll have a small portion for people that are finished creation, and you'll have the main portion. I think that's actually for staking now that I think about it. I'll have to go back and double check, but you can see this happening from time to time. So it's a two-tier mint system effectively. You tell me if I interpreted what you mean by fundamental correctly though, because you know how words are on a screen and interpreting it versus actually speaking. So let me know, dude. If TitanX reaches its all-time high, we could see a $69 Taurus could be wild. Well, let's talk about Taurus. You know, while the market's been going down, about TitanX has been taking a bit of a beating. It's been dragged around by Ethereum and getting sold down a lot. I mean, and if we look at against Ethereum, we have been going sideways since the middle of October. So if we look at our USD value here and we see the middle of October, we've just been getting absolutely decimated by ETH, you know, having a hemorrhage essentially. And so in the meantime, though, if we go since the middle of October, we're here, we've effectively just gone sideways more or less. And especially if we look at the ratio against TitanX since the middle of October, we've actually gone up. So Taurus is actually holding extremely strong right now. And it's pretty bullish, extremely bullish in my opinion. Let's see here. OX Mike, good to see you. Welcome. Taurus and Unity total future supply over the next 20 years is only about 6x the total BTC supply and around the current supply of ETH. I don't think many realize just how little supply there will be. Exactly. So thank you for this comment because it's really true. Like, especially when we're burning nearly 1 million tokens in like 30 days, you got to remember that that's 1% of 20 years worth of supply. So if the price stays relatively low for, you know, hundreds of days, maybe a year, 2 years, and maybe let's not say USD value because let's say PulseX is pumping, we're in a bull run, but let's say in ratio to PulseX or ratio to TitanX for Taurus, you know, the amount of tokens that are burned have very interesting effects secondarily on the yield in the system, the difficulty of acquiring tokens in the system, the value of the rest of the tokens, and so on. It's like, it's such a good point. That's why I designed it in the way that it is because, you know, this all comes to a head if the system is put into a position where, you know, it's not running wild with high prices and it's in creation territory all the time. It actually is the most helpful thing possible to the system, and it makes it so difficult to actually use this system, acquire positions in this system, and, you know, maintain those positions in this system. So thanks for this comment. It's actually, it's one of the more relevant comments, especially given we're seeing what's happening with Taurus. We're almost at 2 million tokens burned at the, it's insane. We're at 1.8 million tokens burned already for Taurus. And if we look at the amount of burn we still have in the buy and burn, we still have $255,000 worth of economic energy that can go towards buying and burning Taurus. So if we do some quick napkin math here at the current prices that we have, let's just go back to the stats here. So we've burned 130. So basically what we're looking at here, guys, is we're looking at over 4 million Taurus. If we were to stay at these prices for the entire time that the buy and burn were to basically be used, we'd burn 4 million Taurus, which is more than what's currently staked and what's more than is more than double the liquid supply. It's almost double the liquid supply, which is insanity. And that's almost 4% of the end supply that will come out in 20 years in just the first handful of hundreds of days, right? Maybe it's 200 or maybe it's 300 days. So it's pretty wild. And if we extrapolate across time and see how that might work, you know, years into the future, it's pretty wild how quickly this supply is going to go away and how it's going to affect the system. So thank you for this comment. I don't know if you want to add anything to this because it is a great comment. I would like to hear more of your thoughts because, you know, you're adding a lot of interesting points here. So what do you think this implies about Taurus and Unity into the future? I'd love to hear that as well. Question. So initially created tokens also come from this 125 million or above. It comes from above and beyond. But the reason I say it's going to be capped is because when you have a sine wave, or let's look at let's go look at the Taurus chart, because this is much easier to describe visually. So what we're going to notice is the created tokens come from the period when we're above this median ratio, right? But when we go down here in ratio, it's much easier to burn those tokens. And so the time that we spend down below this ratio here is all excess burning, which means as we, like, theoretically speaking, and we are actually seeing it play out in real time, is that the tokens that have been created are burned and then some as we stay down here. And this slowly creates kind of an equilibrium where excess tokens are minted because of this range. Excess tokens beyond what have been minted via created and from the Taurus pool are burned down here until a point where there's a supply pinch or supply demand pinch, and the price increases back up here. And if we think about this like excess or deficit, right? This is supply excess. We're going to get in here beyond the 125 million in terms of trajectory, right? That means like when we're above here, we're kind of pushing to exceed that amount of supply. And when we're down here, we're kind of going into a supply deficit, meaning we're going to be less than 125 million. So the longer that we stay down here, the harder it is for the supply to actually go towards being in excess of 125 million as it comes around here, because more people need to come into the system. There's like a compounded effect of what's required, because the amount of tokens that are created here for the same economic energy, right? You can only create a fraction of those. Even if the price was to rocket up to here, it would take a lot more economic energy to create the same amount of tokens that were created here versus, and this scales into the future. So it's a little bit weird to visualize, but basically this rubber banding or this back and forth that happens with the creation and the staking is like a supply control mechanism, right? The end goal is 125 million, but if the price stays below the median point for too long, there's no way any amount of creating can ever allow that deficit to be made up, meaning we're going to be below 125 million. The only way that we could have ever really seen 125 million tokens is if we stayed up here in the creation zone, so to speak, for like a long time. And then we came back down and it corrected back up instantly. Like that's the way that 125 million and a surplus would have been created. But because that's not the case, and we're going to be staying down here probably for quite some time, could be a couple more months, it could be a year, who knows? I have no idea. It's fine either way. But this is what's happening, is this is the deficit zone for supply. The longer we stay down here, the less likely it is that created tokens can actually make us go beyond 125 million. So I hope that makes sense. But it's a really important question. I like this. I like where your head's at. And this is all intertwined with the design intention of Taurus. And this applies to Unity as well. Everything I'm saying for supply numbers, the elasticity, how the supply mechanics work, this all applies to Unity as well. Volatile's asking, if our ratio of PLSX goes back to 500,000 to 1 in the bull run, does that mean that it will 5x what PLSX does? Well, no, it'll be different actually. Let's go to Unity. So your question, just so I'm getting it right, is if 500,000 to 1. Okay, so this is where we go to the ratios, right? We can't look at the USD. So if PulseX 5x's, basically what you would do is you take the gains here, 500,000 to 1. I think that was what so let's say we go here. So that is a 100 and, am I saying that right? Yeah, 136x against PulseX. So if PulseX does a 5x, you'd basically take 5 and multiply that by 136. So that's so basically you're looking at, 600x, is that right? 600 something x is what would be Unity's total price appreciation. Remember, because if Unity is doing this against PulseX, while PulseX is doing a 5x, the USD price is going to go astronomical. And let me just pull up my calculator here. You guys won't see this, but let's go. Okay, so you said 5x. So let's go 5 times 136, 680x. Which, if we multiply that by the price that we have right now, just because we're having fun here, and this is absolutely not financial advice. So now multiply by 0.042. So that's $28.56 Unity. Not bad. Not bad at all. Oh, man. So that's fun. It's a little mood math. I think I read your question right, too. Let me know if I got that wrong, but I'm going to go on to Connor's question here. So I mean that, like, in my mind, a certain amount of Unity already exists, and that is distributed daily by the contracts. But for creation, Unity doesn't exist yet. And then a contract just makes it from Unity doesn't exist yet. And then a contract just makes it from its pair. There's no pair per se. It's the action itself causes the smart contract to create additional tokens that are what actually generates your ability to have shares in the system when you create. I think that's the most fundamental way I can say that. Like, let me read that again. Like, in my mind, a certain amount of Unity already exists. I see what you're saying, right? So this is the created tokens is kind of like creating shares, more or less. And the shares have to be synonymous with tokens. And so in order to issue shares, the tokens have to be issued. So maybe there's something there to look at, to understand, or to think of as, you know, how it's worded. But I think that's the only way I know how to explain that at this point in time. Yeah, it's a good question, though. I'll think about how to explain it a little bit better, but I think that's the only way to do it. Depending if staking fees become cheaper, you might see an influx of bigger players starting to stake again. Curious dynamics. Actually, no idea how it's going to play out. Yeah, that's the secret, man. Or that's the fun, right? That's the fun. I don't know what you're going on about there, my dude. Yeah, exactly. It's, you know, it's not fun to look at, to be like, I got to pay $68 to stake $38. But if you're looking at it from a standpoint of $100 in, what do I get out? And the tokens you get, I mean, there's a significant advantage to these price points and for the protocol itself. Let's see. Right? Exactly. Moon math is fun. Exactly. So creation, so you have the Unity pool and the Taurus pool that have a fixed supply that's going to issue of 125 million. The created tokens are in addition to that. But as we stay below that threshold, there's no more created tokens that are coming out. And therefore, those created tokens, the theory behind this was that as the prices in PulseX and TitanX fluctuate from high to low across that, or above and below that median, the amount of tokens that are ever burned will always exceed the amount that are created, right? Because it's probably always going to take longer for the price to return from the lows to the highs than it is from the highs to the lows. I mean, that was the theory anyway. So any tokens created during the high periods, there's going to be more time for burning and probably better prices, so better burn rates that are going to overcompensate for whatever created tokens are ever minted into supply ever, which means that there's almost always going to be a deficit, theoretically. And that was the theory there. So hope that makes sense. It is an important question to ask, because I mean, it's a great question. Honestly, it's like, okay, well, why have two-tier systems, right? And that is the advantage of, and the beauty of Unity and Taurus is that those tokens created are shares. And so by allowing people to create shares, you need to issue them tokens, and it allows advantage to getting in the system at high prices, while staking and buying at low prices gives you advantage into the system when the prices are down. Let's see here. Question: which price is correct on which exchange was a big topic on Telegram last week? I was seeing that. I mean, if we do, let me do some quick math here. So if I go, let's see. Let's just see what the ratio is giving us. So if we go 0.0000123, whoops, and then we multiply that by the PLSX ratio. Let's go now times 3780, 0.58. We get actually, so according to the ratio, man, I don't know why this is the way it is. I really don't understand. But according to the ratio, we are sitting at 4.77 cents, not 4.2 cents. But yet the deck screen is reading 4.2 cents. So what I did here, I basically took the price of Pulse X and I multiplied the price of Pulse X by the ratio here to get a price for Unity. And this is basically half a cent lower than what the math points to. So I don't really know why that's doing that. It's a really weird, I don't have an explanation for that. I don't know if it's the way 9mm is reading or the way deck screener is reading, or something's reading it weird though. But we're actually at 4.7 cents and it is what it is. I'm not going to fight for that one tooth and nail to explain that every time. I'm just going to leave it as it is. But yeah, it is kind of annoying, to be honest. But it is what it is. I wonder if that's the same for Taurus too. I'm not going to check it right now, but I wonder if it's actually, you know what? Let's just check because I'm very curious. So let's go to Taurus. Let's go 0.1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 5, 5, 5 times. And then let's go to, because maybe this is a deck screener thing. Multiplied by 781,870. Nope. Deck screener is right for that one. So maybe it's the way 9mm is reading. I don't know. I don't have an answer. Yeah, exactly. I don't really have an answer for that. I'll look into it though, because I would like to get that figured out. Honestly, it is annoying. It's very annoying. All right. Thank you for being here, my friend. Thank you. We'll try and figure that out though. On that note, though, getting up to the 47-minute mark. This has been a great stream. I appreciate you guys all being here. If anyone has any other questions, please throw them in the chat now. And right on cue, Martin. Thank you, my friend. Question: EES, when unclaimed rewards are being burnt and put to pool payout every day or after initial time has passed. So if you EES, you emergency end stake, or you late claim, the penalties, so 50% of what your penalties are burned, and 50% are redistributed to all of the users in the pool. It doesn't happen daily. What happens is those penalties in the burn tokens, so the tokens that are taken and burned and redistributed, only have that action done when the claim or the end stake happens, right? So let's say, Martin, you go and end a stake right now because we're on day 139 and the payout for day 139 is basically 24 hours away, or 23 hours, 22 hours and 40 minutes away. Those tokens are going to be added here and will be distributed when day 139 ticks over to day 140. And those penalties will be burned immediately though. So hopefully that makes sense. It's really that simple. It's not like it's not like it slowly gets stripped out. It's all at once. As soon as someone claims, or as soon as someone EESs, so emergency end stakes, then those penalties are distributed to or given to the pool. And the next day they're distributed or as the day ticks over, then they're redistributed to all the users in the pool. So yeah, I appreciate that, Kesh. Thanks guys for always being here. It's always great to have over 140 of you hanging out with me here, which mostly on X, which is interesting, which is really cool. Excellent stream as always, brother. Miss chopping up with the gang. I do too. It's been it's nice to be back, and I do think it's time to start ramping things up. So we'll see what that means. But in terms of like how often there's streams and utilizing spaces and X and YouTube, I am noticing YouTube is getting a lot less views than X, which, hey, it is what it is. But I think it's important to still have YouTube being utilized. So yeah, lots of exciting stuff coming here, guys. We're only getting started. I think as we come up into, Christmas and into 2026, there's going to be a whole lot to be excited about. I personally can't wait to see how it all unfolds. I love watching these protocols form. I love watching the community form. I love watching you guys, create X spaces. And shout out to Martin and Kesh every Thursday. You guys are creating community spaces for Taurus and Unity. So if you haven't already, be sure to connect with them on X. Go in the Telegram. You can see their handles, and they always post their streams or their space in the chat in Telegram as well as on X. Make sure you're following them on X so you can join the spaces and chat with them. I sometimes drop by from time to time, and yeah, I would love to see more of that too, because it's really cool to see that. And special shout out to all of you that are constantly reposting stuff or creating your own posts and going to spaces and shouting out Unity, shouting out Taurus, and just spreading the word of the age of Unity on Pulse Chain and the age of Taurus on Ethereum. It's really spectacular to see. So Martin is asking, so these EES unclaimed rewards are moved forward in time from the last day to the claim day. Exactly. It's as simple as that. On that note, thank you, Kesh, for being here. Thank you, Martin. Thank you, Damien. Thank you, everyone that showed up. Thank you, Todd. Thank you, Connor. Hope everyone has a wonderful day. And last question, Vault, would the price issue be related to the Oracle price check from 9mm? It could very well be. It could very well be. It's possibly as simple as it is. So on that note, though, guys, thank you for being here. I appreciate each and every one of you. Have a wonderful day, and there will be a stream again very soon. If not, go check out the Thursday stream with Kesh and Martin for the Taurus and Unity community space, and I will see you guys very soon in the next one. Peace.